Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome back to Ace Podcast Nation. Welcome back to A.C.E Media. And of course, welcome back to another episode of My Story. And delighted to have another new guest. And today I'm joined by a man who I've been trying to nail down for a while, but he lives like too far away, so we was like trying to get it. And then I seen that he was in Cardiff. I was like, right, we'll have him. But it is co-founder of Larynx Entertainment, as well as director Dave Acton. How are you, my friend? You good?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah.
I feel a bit like flustered just because I've been, as I was just saying, just
forget the traffic. It's gone.
Clear the mind. I'll lose that rage, otherwise we could spend 10 minutes like shouting and swearing.
Don't take it out on me. It's a small room.
No. So obviously, like, I messaged you a few times tonight, like over Instagram and that, and we were talking, and it was like, you said yes, like straight away, you were up for it. It was just like, you're gonna have to work it out when you're down in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It's weird because like what we do covers a lot of what goes on in sort of South Wales.
Yeah.
And in comparison, there's a lot to up north. So like outlets like yourselves and events and the artists themselves. So then I'm in communication and contact with a lot of people from down this way, and it's like, oh yeah, we should link up. Oh, I'm up here. Like 3 hours away. But no, it's good to come down and meet new faces and see old ones, and
that's it, mate.
Yeah,
it's good, like, because I've been quite fortunate. Like the last couple of months, I've managed to grab a couple of people when they're kind of like in the area. Like I was trying to get t-rev on for ages. Like I'm mates with him, but he lives in Swansea. He for a long time he didn't really want to come down to Cardiff.
Yeah.
But he's out and about at the moment, so it's good. But so Larynx Entertainment, mate, it's an awesome thing for me. Like I look at it, and like when I first came across it, it's a platform which is giving Welsh artists particularly, but artists generally, like a platform to show their stuff, do their stuff. And I think one thing I've talked about a lot with various people from different sort of places is I think Wales as a country, we don't do enough to promote the talented people that we got, and in music, in fighting, boxing, MMA, even football to a certain extent. I feel like we kind of go under the radar a little bit, because I think there's several Welsh artists, for instance, who if they lived in Birmingham or Manchester or London, they'd have blown up way bigger than they already have.
Yeah, there's the potential for that. I think there's a lot more opportunity in those places, naturally.
Yeah.
Even just keeping it sort of within Wales, I think a lot of opportunity comes down here and not up there. Naturally, it's the capital of the country. But again, we have been sort of overlooked. I think the whole reason we sort of started was because, there's a bunch of talented people in our area, and that like no one's getting a shout about it. No one's appearing on any lineups. They haven't got anywhere they can go to be creative. They can't, so that's how we started. It was just a local bunch got together and said, oh, we'll do this all under the same umbrella. We were frequenting sort of open mic nights. One of the other co-founders, Tim Humphreys-Jones, ran it was more so a poetry spoken word night, but then like a bunch of rappers are coming through, so we were like, right, well, let's do something with these lot.
Yeah.
And then that's how the Larynx was born, as a local collective. And we just try to work together and try and support each other, because that's a fundamental thing that is missing, is just support,
collaboration,
basic support for each other. And so and then we did that for a couple of years, and then it's sort of grown into what it is now. But like I say, there definitely needs to be opportunity, widespread opportunity and infrastructure into what artists, not even just in the field that I'm interested in, but in every field,
100%. So I want to learn a bit more about you, and then we'll kind of come back to the Larynx story as well.
Yeah.
Then, like, what were you like as a kid? Like, was you interested in music from a young age, or?
From what I can remember, like I was into like pop music when I was like a tad little. Didn't really sort of
cheesy pop tunes.
Yeah, like Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. And I loved that R&B. I loved R&B. And then sort of got to teenage years. I remember being on holiday in Tenby. I remember being vividly, I remember this. And we were on this road, and it's beaming hot, and as many people do that are my age, heard Eminem or D12 on the radio, Purple Hills, and I was hooked. The second I heard it, I was like, what is this? This is mind-blowing. And then sort of, it's that music sort of took over my life. Not necessarily like from, I'm not at all from like a music family. Like I'd say I'm the most ambitious in terms of what I've gone on to do. I think all the blokes are mechanics or engineers, and all the women are sort of carers or worked in a hospital sort of thing. So I've sort of gone right left field,
different direction.
I'm like interested in all the same stuff as my eldest brother, like football, gaming, and all that lot. But I was never. They all like drive and stuff, and I've got no interest in it whatsoever. And they were all always huddled around the car, trying to fix something, and it was just never me. I'd be away in the bedroom playing with my action figures and stuff.
The thing is, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, if you've got like family and that, or brothers and sisters and that, and especially if you're younger and they've got different interests to you, you're naturally interested to a certain extent because of your older brothers or whatever. But then if you haven't got an interest in what they're doing, it wears off quick, doesn't it? And then you kind of go back to doing your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, there was probably an instance or two where I was like, oh yeah, this is like my brothers used to do like banger racing and stuff like that, and that was sort of, it was smart at the time, but it just sort of, it never stuck to me like sort of music did once I hit teenage years. So,
it's interesting you mentioned about Eminem, because I remember like when I was 16 and I left school and I was working in a pub, and I ended up doing some shifts in the kitchen and that, and I remember there was another boy who was my age who was doing like a chef, like apprenticeship or whatever, and like we used to just play Eminem's first album just over and over and over again. And like, I think sometimes like the younger generation now, like teenagers, like my boys and that, and they look at Eminem and they're like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. But like for people who were around when he broke through, like you realise how influential he was in terms of the effect he had on music as a whole. Yeah,
and like I think nowadays he's not the artist he was. So if you are to play any youngster, anything recent, I think that can be quite off-putting, because I know I don't want to listen to his recent stuff. But yeah, sort of those early years, those first 3 albums, like bloody hell, that's my youth. That is my youth. That was like once I got into the sort of hip-hop realm, Marshall Mathers LP was the first album that I'd listened to. I nicked it out off my brother or my sister, one or two. Listened to it and I was like, what is this sort of thing? You get to tracks like Kim and you go, what's going on here?
So
what's going on here?
You've never heard anything like it.
Yeah. And so like I say, that is my youth. And then like had some really poor music choices when I was growing up as well. But again, that's all a maturity thing. But yeah, I think a lot of people my age will have the sort of same story. Sort of, it was Eminem sort of thing.
Do you tie, like, so say you hear like, I know, a Backstreet Boys song or a Eminem song or whatever now, do you tie like that era or certain memories to like the music which you were listening to?
I think so. I think that there's definitely some tracks here and there that'll spark a memory, especially from those 3 albums, just being where I was and who I was at the time. And then even going later on, like, there's definitely tracks there that spark a memory or two. Probably ones that I want to keep buried. Buried, but
most people do, don't they, when they look back on their teenage years? And
Benefit of hindsight and all that, innit?
Well, it's part of growing up, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
I say quite openly, like I've done a lot of things which I'm not proud of, particularly like in my teens and early 20s maybe. Like you grow up, don't you? And you learn from certain stuff.
Yeah. Like I hated sort of teenage years. Like, I was like bullied through school and stuff, so I hated it. Like my granddad, age-old phrase, you'll miss school when you're not there, and it's like, no, I won't. I couldn't think of anything worse than going back to school. But then again, like that's a system that needs overhauling so that people are protected. But but yeah, like I say, as I've gotten older, and especially as I've met my partner and had kids, there's definitely a element of maturity that has come in, and like, I think as I've done Larynx as well, I've matured a bit. I would have had views that had been just rubbish, like I probably on the music front as well. I'm a sort of I like lyrics, like and a lot of people will complain about lyrics and stuff like that these days, and things are a bit sort of copycatish. But it's like, does it matter really? Does it matter? People are just trying to make money. Just leave them to it.
It's a quick question then, sort of off the cuff. Who do you think is the best lyricist in Wales?
Oh man.
You can name a couple if you want.
Do you know what? I hate answering questions like this. There's a few, man. There's a few. OD from Up My Way and Mould is one of them. Known him a long time. He's incredible. Brave McGraw, because he's in that battle rap field as well. He's quality. Pogriff and Gem and Zubat. They wing a lot of all quality lyricists. Who else is here? Black Tricks is a very, very good lyricist. Smoke, or now going by Sire, another one that I rate. Noah Bouchard. I could go on. There's tons, and this is what I mean. Like, for me, when I look at other places and then look at Wales, it's like, well, we have that in Wales, so why is that not shouted about a little bit more?
This is my thing. Like, and this is why I enjoy speaking to people from within, like hip hop and drum and bass and grime and whatever in Wales, the music scene in Wales, is because I speak to some people. Like when I say to t-rev all the time, I'm like, mate, if you lived anywhere else, you'd have blown up by now, because I think he's such a good storyteller. Yeah. And the way he uses his own emotions to tell that story. But like
they're another lot as well, like t-rev, but like the Bab Castle lot that is almost built on lyrics. The Blue City Boys. I could go on. I could listen. I could listen.
Put you on the spot, though, didn't I? Put you on the spot.
Those are the questions that people want to know, though. I'm like, I don't want to
answer. It's like, you don't want to upset no one, do you, by like leaving them off or whatever. It's
not. It's like I'm a fan of them all. Like, obviously I have my own personal taste because I'm human, and like, who doesn't? But I'm a fan of them all. Like, every single one of them. But I just want to see everyone succeed. And just I just want to see everyone succeed. I just want to see, and people can,
I think so.
With the work, and hopefully with some bigger exposure coming to Wales.
It's coming, hopefully, I think. Do you know, is another random question to put you on the spot, and not so much on the spot this time, but can you name me like a random duo that you would like to see collaborate, which maybe people wouldn't necessarily put together? As random as you like.
So you normally do this in my head with the ones that I think, those make sense.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see Mace and Mr. Formula do a track together. I reckon that'd be smart. Just a little bit of a different style. But then I've heard Mace on sort of old school traditional hip hop beats, and his voice is incredible. Like, he's got a feature on Mercy Rose's project, and his verse on that is cracking. Yeah, I'd probably say that's one that I'd like to hear. I'd maybe like to hear people hop on some sounds that they wouldn't necessarily. So the Winger Records lot, maybe see what they sound like over a drill beat or something like that.
Yeah.
or
mix it up a bit.
Yeah, like Raz. Like I know Raz can do the sort of hip hop stuff. He did Mob Deep for his Loaded session with us. But maybe I'd like to hear Raz Kid go proper hip hop. Give us a 90s boom bap tape. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Like the Clash of Styles thing. Because again, there's tons of pairings that you could see there. There's one recently actually. Do Not Associate and Rue 6 did a collaboration. Is it In My Zone? And I see Do Not Associate as more of a young lyricist, someone that's leaning more towards the boom bap style. But then he's come on that and he's done terrifically. That's
It's an interesting question though, because you start thinking about like people who you wouldn't necessarily put together or whatever naturally. And kind of switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So when did you first? So you had an interest in music even when you were back with your pop days, isn't it? You loved music. When did that go from you like music to like an interest in doing something with it career-wise?
I would have been a teenager. I would have been sort of like 15, so doing my own music, writing and sort of. But I'm one of these ones that just never did anything with it. I always second guess my own ability. So. I was sort of writing from like teenage years, and there were bits here and there that were fucking awful. It's just awful. And then I did an EP 2016, and I don't think that's anywhere anymore because it's terrible. But yeah,
so you watched it from the internet, did you?
Yeah. I just sort of. It's one of those things I look back now and I was thinking, what was I doing? Why did I do that? But so I would have been sort of like 15 doing the writing, and then as a sort of career, it wasn't until started getting together with the boys and sort of you're doing bits but don't realise you're sort of doing bits.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm not from a musical background. Like my background's retail. I've worked in retail since I was like 18, and I sort of got involved with all this stuff. I was a bit late to the party in terms of getting involved in like live music and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we sort of, with the collective, we were reaching out to do gigs, did a few, got booked on, did a showcase with Focus Wales, a big international festival in Wrexham. And yeah, just sort of started seeing the workings of the music industry. I said, I don't know, I quite like this. And yeah, just sort of as I've gone, like I'm not an expert in anything at all. I've learned everything as I've gone along. I've winged everything. And I'm very
taught yourself sort of thing. And
yeah. I'm very grateful to have worked and learned from a lot of different people across the country, and I'm extremely grateful for it. And even like the new sort of budding crop of promoters that have been about a while, that just good people doing good things, I'm extremely grateful for the help that I've had as I've sort of gone along. And even in the early days as well, when we started doing Larynx in its what's the word, iteration that it is now. The lads that we started sort of Larynx Entertainment with as well, extremely appreciative for their help in getting it off the ground. It is me solo at the moment, but we'll work. But like I say, it would have been teenage years. I sort of got interested in doing music myself. And then that's just progressed from wanting to do it myself to wanting to do it for other people.
Do you remember what you thought the first time you heard your voice back recorded?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
No one likes it. No one like that. But that's one of those things that is like you've got to overcome it. Like you've got to overcome it. Because I used to do some fucking stupid things. I used to growl. Like I used to put a growl on my voice, so it was like less recognisable, I suppose. And I think I did that for about a year or so, and I was like, oh no, my throat's messed up. I need to stop doing this. But yeah, that was an awful experience. And then even learning the craft of writing and actually rapping. You know, your flow, your delivery, how to use your cadence, all that sort of stuff. That is all a learning curve. Because I've always, me and Tim have a thing about counting bars. I learned it from a song, Hops in Hot 16s. I learned it from that. I was like, so 16, what is a 16? And at the time I would have been probably trying to figure out, what's a bar then? What is a bar? And that's how I learned. Tim to this day still can't count bars. However hard I try it, I teach him how to count bars. Still can't count bars. So yeah, but yeah, all those sorts of things, man. Just like learning. That was the fun bit. Yeah. I enjoyed going through that process. But like I say, it's the writing that I get stuck with. It's a standard thing. It's a standard. Like some of the stuff that I write, I think, fucking hell, how have I come up with that? And then some of the stuff I write, I'm like, nah, that goes straight in the bin. That goes straight in the bin.
Processed, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's very like, I'm very, very hard on myself to the point where no one's heard anything new of me for 2 years. So.
And this is the difficulty, isn't it? It's like just letting yourself, give yourself a break almost, and believing that no, that is good. I know, like initially you thought it was good enough, and then somewhere in the process you're second guessing yourself and stuff. And it's like being able to separate what's kind of like intrusive thoughts or like you being a bit hard on yourself, and what's not the shit that needs to go in the bin.
Yeah. It's that. It's letting yourself make the mistake.
Like learn from those mistakes along the way as well.
Half the time I won't even get stuff on paper or in my phone, because I'll get to that first line and I'll go, nah, that's not a good starting point, that's not good.
Yeah.
But you're not making any progress there. You just sort of you're not going anywhere. So yeah, giving yourself that break, and this is all stuff that I tell people that are coming up, like these are the things that you have to overcome, or these are bits of advice that I use, but you'd never take them for yourself.
No, that's always the same, isn't it?
But you've got to let yourself make those mistakes, and it's the same in every aspect of music. It's if you're in the booth recording a track, experiment with your voice, do something different, because it's easily deletable.
Yeah.
Live music, just run with the mistakes. If there's an error, play it off as best as you can. A lot of people, like, I've seen some instances where people have just sort of shut down. It's like, it is what it is, man. It's a learning curve.
It's interesting hearing that as well, because like I sort of help with my boys' football team and stuff, and like one of the things I've been saying to the strikers and I recently is like, we're doing they're doing a drill or whatever, but then I'll say, right, no, I want to see what tricks you got, what show me something different, like how you're going to get past the defender, or like encouraging them to do the drill and practice, but like be a bit creative with it as well, because I think you shouldn't like close that down. If you've got the opportunity where it doesn't matter if you make a mistake and you trip over the ball or you trip over yourself rapping or whatever, like try something, because something that you try in that recording session or that training session or whatever it may be, or in whatever it is, like that thing that you try might be the thing that really, really clicks and works.
Yeah.
But if you don't try it because you're either like you're you don't want to try new things, or because you're uncomfortable or stuff. There's always a time to try those kind of things and bring out that bit of creativity or that additional creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, trying something new and seeing if it could be the catalyst to the next. You know, you don't know how far that's gonna go, sort of thing. So yeah, absolutely. I think be creative, experiment, make mistakes. You know, trip over a couple of times. Don't be afraid of that. I think, because one of my things is everything's so sort of. I think it's a bit better these days because everything's so accessible. But like a lot of stuff is like textbook, and it's like why? I never learned shit from a textbook. Like I can't remember anything that I'd sort of took from school or anything like that. Not consciously anyway, but. Yeah, everything's textbook, and I don't think that's how you get the most out of people.
No, it's not a way to encourage like creativity. I don't think, because
no, not
you're
at
just
all.
doing it as in like do A, do B, C, and sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you need to skip to S and
draw outside the lines. Yeah. Draw outside the lines. We did doing some classes in some schools up north, and like. You can see them in like a music lesson, they're just bored.
Yeah.
And they've got the keyboards that have got the sound effects.
Because it was just.
Yeah, and to be fair, the music teacher that I had was pretty decent. I enjoyed classes with him. And then I wanted to take music as an option in year 10. But it was an after school thing. It was, so that class starts from 3 until 4:30, I think it was. Like, what 15-year-old wants to stay in school an extra hour? I want to go out and do stuff that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
so
exactly that, isn't it?
So yeah, it was. The creativity isn't facilitated in schools a lot, I don't think, and it needs to be more, because again, you're going to get the best out of people that way.
The thing is, as well, right, is people, particularly kids, they're like teenagers. The way their brain is and stuff, like. They all take in information differently and they all learn differently. So some might be alright with a textbook, but then others need a bit more visual learning, or they need to see you do it so they can then pick up off that. Like I know my older boy's got ADHD and he's 18 and he's killing it now. He's doing some sailing instructor course or something at the moment. And like I asked him this week, like how are you finding them explaining it, like how are they explaining it to you? Are you being able, because he needs stuff explained a certain way so he can take it in, and then as soon as he's got it in his head, he can go and do it. Yeah. But he needs it in a certain way to go in so he gets it. And like he said, he's been fine because they do like diagrams, then they show you how to do it, and then they say you do it, and then you learn by your mistakes, and they'll say, oh no, you need to do this or that. And I think schools need to embrace that more. Absolutely. Some people learn with their brains, some people learn with their hands. And I was that way, most definitely. I hated anything theory based, but if I think boys generally as well, though, not all, it's not like black and white, all boys and all. But I think boys, generally speaking, that was practical learners, isn't they?
Yeah, that was definitely the case when I was in school. And I'd done a BTEC sport for my options, and I don't know why I didn't do any of the theory at all. But then there was one session that was practical, and it was like drills with kids from a primary school. And my PE teacher was like, "How have you pulled that off? like you've done that so well, but theory, it's non-existent," because I didn't do anything. But I just didn't find it.
Because you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And you understood it, and it was all that, but you just didn't want to do, didn't feel the writing and the theory, innit?
My mum always used to say that, so I've got a twin sister.
Okay.
And she used to say that, my sister would spend hours on, homework and revision and stuff like that. And I'd do my homework on the way to school because I hadn't done it, and we'd get similar marks because I'm she's quite bright, my sister, and I'm not I'm not smart. I don't think, but I'm not like stupid either. But I just had a knack for sort of some stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want to do half of it. I wanted to be out. I wanted to be, kicking ball with mates
100%.
or, it's just one of them. Like, school needs to be engaging first and foremost.
Yeah, you gotta wanna be there. Like, it's weird actually. My older boy who's got ADHD, then is at GCSEs in lockdown and stuff. So he just had all this time, and he was hyper focused on coursework, and he got really good marks. And then my next one down, who's 16, has just done his GCSEs. He's waiting for his results. Looks like he's gonna do all right, pretty well. And done no revision at all, really, because he's the way he said. He said I know it, and he almost gets confused more by going back to it and going through it. And I was like, listen, mate, I said, if that's what works for you, that's fine. But if you're doing it just because you can't be bothered, you're not revising because you can't be bothered, then it's not fine. It's you just got to find a way that works for you.
Yeah.
As long as it works, then it's fine.
Yeah, for I think for my GCSEs, or it might have been the mocks, but I had MP3 players was still a thing, so I put sort of audio bites on there just to have them, and I had a paper round at the time. So I'd be on my paper round at the moment. I'd listen to these things. If that's how it sinks in.
But that's what it's like. Why aren't schools suggesting that to teenagers? Because to me, that's not going to cost loads. In fact, it wouldn't cost the school nothing really, because most kids have got a phone.
Yeah.
And you could just tell them they could have a WJEC website or whatever. This is the revision for these classes. There you go, or some notes or whatever, audio notes, and just download them on your phone.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah, it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
And for some, it just might work better. It just might help it sink in.
And if it doesn't, even if it doesn't work, it might just be an additional tool which will help people revise or learn or whatever. It's
sorry, that sneeze.
It's crazy, wasn't it? It was super loud. It was four rooms away or something. It's like a soundproof room, and it's still
But things in schools just need to be
But that's a simple thing which you could change, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's nothing, but
I know
it could be a lot.
I know it. Sometimes it's not easy. It's easier said than done. We know there's not a lot of people in schools and teachers and stuff. All that lot. But again, there are small things that you can change like that. Yeah. And I think it would be beneficial.
There we are. We just solved the school's problems in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I'll send an invoice.
Yeah, that's it. But then it's the same as anything, isn't it? Right? There's good teachers and there's bad teachers. It's just the same. It's like any job in the world. There's good policemen, there's bad policemen, there's good bus drivers, there's also shit bus drivers who nearly run people over constantly because they're driving too fast in Cardiff.
There's always...
They're all in Cardiff though, I think.
Yeah.
no offence to my bus driver brethren, but Jesus Christ.
No, there's definitely some up north as well. There's definitely some up north. Yeah, that's just people in it. Yeah. There's good and there's bad people.
It's weird doing it, right? Because a good teacher in high school can make a massive impact on kids. I remember, I was an absolute nightmare as a teenager. I was an arse. I was just wasn't interested. I was rude, obnoxious, smoking, and I was a nightmare. But there were certain teachers who made an effort to kind of get through to me and reach me and whatever, and they did.
Yeah.
And they're the ones when I look back, and some of them I can still speak to now and again, because they tried, even though I was probably the sort of kid who they go home at night and they're he's an horrible little shit. But they still tried, and they made a massive difference to me, probably because my old man died just before my GCSEs, so I only sat some of them, the main ones and a few others, and I didn't sit some others. But I think if it wasn't for my mum and certain teachers, I would have probably binned off school at that point. And look, I got a few mates who've been off school quite early, like before their exams, and they've gone on and they're doing very, very well for themselves. And I know other ones who went on and did education side and has done all right. And then there's others who did like education, like as high as they could go, and they're struggling to find a job.
Yeah.
And there's no like hard and fast rule to be successful.
No.
I try and say to my kids, just try and find something that you enjoy and you're passionate about, and just do it. Don't worry too much about whether it's going to make you a millionaire, because if you do something you're passionate about, you're not waking up dreading going to work every day. Or
yeah, but it's just be happy in it.
Yeah.
Be happy in you, and be happy in who you are and what you do. It's like is being a millionaire happiness?
No.
Not necessarily. But yeah, all like with me, I did retail for a while and got to the point where it was like I'm either going to kill someone or I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, had to get out of, like, it's mad because, like, you know, it is, but like I sort of worked my way up to sort of like management level in a Lidl. I was there like a while, and it's just when you start to see the ins and outs of things and how they work and who wants what from you, and it's like you're living in a fantasy world, like you know. So yeah, it got to the point where it was like, I've got to get out, I'm done, and I did, and I've had to go back into different places. I'm slowly making my way around all the supermarkets, but yeah, I've been sort of out of employment or out of retail for since Christmas, and that wasn't necessarily by choice. That was I had another job offer that went south, but it got me out of retail. This is what I try and tell the kids. It's like, do something that you want to do, like. You know, if you're passionate about it.
Is once you've got bills and kids and mortgages and rent and the rest of it, you lose that option to just go and do something different, because you got to pay bills and you got to do that. And like, so like we had our oldest quite young, like my missus was like 19 and I think I was 21 or something. So like not like super young, but quite young. But obviously it changes everything, doesn't it? Because like I had at the time, we both had like pretty good jobs. I had a really good job, which I can't talk about, but like it was good, and it was both in the same place. I mean, like it was paying the bills, and we had a lot of plans, and stuff happened, as it does. But like I was lucky in the way that after I had a car accident, I found like something which I was passionate about. Because if I didn't, like I say a lot, like if it wasn't for the like podcasting and the channel and my missus, I'd be dead anyway, because I would have topped myself after that accident, because I went from being like playing football, playing cricket, working, kids, wife, happy, we're going to plan holidays and this, that and the other, all these plans for the future, and then like within a couple of days my missus is like having to feed me and all this sort of shit, dress me and that, and it was like too much. But it's a weird one, isn't it? Because stuff happens, and it's difficult sometimes to turn when your mental health goes, or like when you're feeling like I don't want to be here, I don't want to go to work in this place, but I can't just quit, because
like
it's a hard circle to break, isn't it?
Yeah, like that was the way it was for years. Like obviously, when I met my partner, she already had the lad. He was 2, going on 3 at the time, and then very quickly she fell pregnant with our daughter. So you, as the man, go, oh, I've got to work. I've got to, you know. Got to do that, and it can be sort of, and it's sort of reversed now because I'm unemployed, and she's going to work. I'm like, oh, I'm not winning the bread anymore. I'm not, I'm not bringing the money.
That's
in.
a whole different thing.
That's it. That it flips. but I'm so grateful that, you know, she's allowing me to sort of try to do what I'm doing, and you know, keeping everything else going. But yeah, like I say, when you're in that situation where it's like, I want to do something different, but like I need to pay these bills, and you do that for like, well, in my case, I was like, in Lidl for like 11 years, so it
takes it out of you, doesn't
it? Yeah, and like, you know, and it's not only that. There's obviously other stuff that goes on as well, but yeah, it's draining, and it's like I say, that it can be soul destroying, and you lose who you are as a person. So sometimes it is a case of, well, I've now got to a very, everyone's got a breaking point, I think, and it's what they do at that breaking point that matters. And mine was just, nah, I'm done. Fell out with sort of one of the higher ups, and I was like, nah, I'm not having this anymore, I'm gone. And yeah.
Did you feel relief though once you were done with it?
As soon as I handed my notice in, I was like, that felt good. That felt good. Because like I say, like, even the boss that I had, he's been in that store was in that store for like, since it's been built pretty much. And like I went there and I was sort of like a bratty, arrogant 18-year-old. And he'd sort of watch me sort of develop into almost who I am now. And but he's one of these ones that like will go down the ship, like sort of thing. And there's other people there that'll do the same thing. And again, some of it's because like they have responsibilities and they need to, you know, see them through. Some of it is like it's a team thing. It's like, oh, you know, we're all a team here, and it's like, yeah, but when the team's sort of depleting mentally, like, you know, something needs to be done about that. And it's but you know, that happens everywhere, man. People are in shit jobs that they don't want to be in, and you know,
exactly that. It's like times are hard, isn't it?
And
it's like it's difficult to just say go and do what you want to do. That's why I say to my boys, like, choose what you want to do now and do it, because you've got the option to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Once you get to adulthood, those choices, they're still there, but other stuff happens, and you gotta, whether it's kids or bills, you gotta change up. And I think it's interesting because it's like you learn, don't you? Where we talked earlier about like learning from mistakes and learning as you're going along and stuff like that. And I think when shit goes down and shit goes bad, if you can get through it, you learn a lot from it as you go in as well. And I think then the next time shit goes bad, you're better equipped to kind of navigate your own.
It's not a straight path to anything. There's no direct path to anything, I don't think. And
it's not like a right and wrong thing, is it?
No, and the biggest key to getting what you want in life and is perseverance in a lot of it. Even from a mental point of view, from, you know, a mental health point of view, perseverance to get through 24 hours, right, that one's off the calendar, and the next 24 hours. It's a day by day thing, and I think a lot of the times that's how I've sort of coped, is just fucking get through today.
Day by day.
Just get through today.
Do you know, like, one thing which I think really bugs me, like, about like social media and media and stuff is, so I could use like myself as an example, but also like one of my boys was having a bit of a tough time, and I said to him, mate, the best thing you can do is go day by day, but also go do some exercise, go to the gym, go wherever it is you want to do, wherever you enjoy doing, just go do it, and do it all the time, do it every day. You feel better. And he just, like, he goes to the gym and he does weights and whatever, and he always feels good and better, and he's in a wicked place now. But like, that was one of the things I struggled with, was because I couldn't do exercise. So like, that was very frustrating to me, because that was the one thing which I think, once I stopped drinking and doing other things that I shouldn't, my mental health got better. But I was able to, initially at least, replace those habits with other habits, like going to the gym or exercise or whatever, and then I couldn't. So it was like, should have a drink then, is it? And like, I knew that it was not going to do me any good, but I was so low and felt like a certain way. But it's all a learning curve, mate, I think, as well.
Yeah, like, it's doing things that are going to be beneficial, and some people haven't got the capability of doing those things.
Yeah.
It's finding out what those things are then. And I think,
go find other things, isn't
yeah.
Tools for the job, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and trying new things as well. That's one thing that, like, you know, I try and make sure that the kids, like,
try all different stuff.
try different stuff. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do.
You never know what you might find.
Like you said about social media, like, what a gift and a curse that is.
Yeah.
What a gift and a curse that is.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I couldn't do without social media.
Yeah, you couldn't do. Some people, you couldn't do your job these days with in some fields, but
I wouldn't be on it.
In a heartbeat. I love the fact I've been able to connect with people all over the world, hear music from a bunch of talented people. Some of them I'm lucky enough to call friends now after years. Like, I'm everything is just a click away. I can, whatever. But Jesus Christ, that it can be
soul destroying.
Yeah, and just toxic and negative, and you can go on the majority of sort of like news forums from my end, and it's just a complaint. It's just a complaint, and it's like, why? Sometimes it's a case of, if you haven't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Just don't say anything.
Like, everyone is entitled to their opinion, unless it's morally just shite.
Yeah.
It just keep that to yourself. But like, sometimes you don't need to.
You don't need to tell everyone your opinion, do you?
There's fucking things that I don't like, but does anyone else need to?
No. It's funny though, mate. You go on Twitter for like a minute, and it's like you get like 1 million people's opinions on shit which you don't care about.
See, Twitter's my safe haven. Facebook's the cesspool. Twitter's my safe haven, because it's just.
I don't know what's happened to Twitter recently. Like, I used to quite like it. Just I don't post that much on it. Like, I used to just post all sorts of shit on it, but like I don't really post on it. But I do like a good scroll through it, and then suddenly, like in the last couple of weeks, I just keep getting, since they added like a For You
the
bit,
For You,
instead of just being like the people you follow and what they retweet and whatever.
All that's nonsense.
I just get so much shit, and I'm like, I don't follow this person. I'm not interested in this person. And I certainly don't give a fuck about their opinion.
Yeah.
Why have I got it?
Yeah, that bit's garbage, but you do come across them funny. Twitter has me in stitches sometimes, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, you are more than entitled to your opinion, but sometimes it's just better to.
Don't need to tell everyone your opinion, do you?
Yeah. Especially when you've put it on 5 other threads on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like this
said the same thing.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, like I say, just finding stuff that you enjoy doing. Like I'm one to talk, really, because like I've been saying, I need to go and do some exercise, getting out of the house and doing, because I'm just sat in the corners most days editing or doing whatever, and I'm like, I need to go and
just do something
because I'm putting weight on, so that's playing on my health and on my mental health, and like I'm just not doing anything. So yeah, there's definitely things that I need to go and do to help me mentally. But yeah, like I say, perseverance is I think key. Perseverance and are willing to sort of look here, there and everywhere for options. And I've said it like before, didn't want to myself, but like we all know about like different help and different ways that you can find help and stuff, but you've got to want it. You've got to want to change. You've got to want to, get out of that situation.
But it's also going back to what we sort of touched on a little bit right at the start. Is like, I bet you if like one of your mates came to you or your brother or whatever come to you and said like, I'm feeling down or whatever, I'm struggling, whatever make him come to you with a problem, you'd give them wicked advice on how to deal with it, what to do, blah blah, and they might go and take it and they'll go and sort themselves out, sort it and whatever, but you won't take your own advice. And that's the same as me, like, and I think probably a lot of people in it, if not most, is like you can give really good advice and you know what you should be doing or you know what will help, but for whatever reason you don't always take your own advice with regards to certain things.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's human nature, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, going back to Larynx, mate, like, so you kind of had those, like, the spoken words, which then developed into sort of the more, like, hip-hop side of it. How did it kind of grow to become, or where did the idea come from then, from that sort of collective and those nights to being, like, a platform where you can showcase artists and videos and content?
We'd sort of done it for a couple of years, sort of doing the in-house thing. And it was alright. We had a decent roster of artists that were involved with it. But it was difficult in sort of maintaining, getting people together and, like, it was tough in that aspect, and this is why a lot of people say, oh, you should do artist management. And I'm like, nope. It's tough. So yeah, the guy, Pete Rogers, the other director of Larynx, he was working, there was an enterprise hub, a free office space opened up in town, and we'd sort of gone there and we were like, how can we sort of like develop this into something that can spotlight a bit more. An SBTV for Wales was sort of the idea. That was what it was in a nutshell. So we put it out to a couple of videographers to come and sit and have a chat with us. One of them, Danny Edwards, got involved in what we were doing, and we sort of right, we're gonna change to a media platform. We had a couple of different names, but settled with Larynx Entertainment. And we had a lineup with a local festival, Rex Fest, and it was we were looking at bringing some acts in from outside of Wales, from outside of Wrexham, and I'd not long come across, this is 2018, I'd not long come across Luke Harvey. I'm a big battle rap fan, and Bobby Rex, who's a battler from Manchester, had said, oh, this guy's messaged me from Neath, check out his project, and it was Luke. So I checked out the project. It was mad. His voice is his voice is incredible, and to this day it's still incredible. I think he's got the most recognisable voice in the country. And I was like, oh, go on then, we'll see if we can make it happen. And we got Luke up to Wrexham. We'd got Mr. Formula, who was involved, and a couple of locals as well. Prior to that as well, at that year's Focus Wales, we'd met Craze the Jack from Swansea, and I think we'd met Meanness as well. So that was sort of the thing. It was like, oh, what else is actually out in Wales? What else is actually happening? And it was funny because for every like one artist you'd find another three from them, and then it just snowballed like that. So there was a lot of research at the beginning, but like the names we came across, fucking Conrad, Razkid, Noah, just people from everywhere, and it was like, this is gold mine. And all it was like, we just want to put people on. We just want to spotlight this because it doesn't get the spotlight it deserves. And then from there we had that Rex Fest, and from there just trying to grow it, and we started shooting loaded sessions, which is our freestyle sessions. Did that, just do lineups, then you meet different people from all over Wales and make these connections, and it just yeah, just try to keep it growing as best as we can. Yeah, that was sort of it.
Yeah, I think like some of the names you mentioned there, like they're so talented. There's so much talent around Wales that needs and should have a spotlight on them. And it's this way I always enjoy speaking. Like I've had Razkid on, I had Ezra, and like obviously I had Merkage and T-Rev and people like I had Scammer as well. And we had a problem with the film, so we lost it. Fucking devastating because it was.
There
like,
you go. There's another lyricist as well.
Hour and 45 minutes of me and him talking, and it's just gone.
Shit.
Devastated because it took ages to be able to sort it out so he could come, and because of his schedule and that, because he's doing mad stuff at the moment and he's doing well, and it's like. It was I was so excited to have him on. I was just chuffed, and I've been speaking to him and I get on really well with him, so it was like a natural thing. And I was just gone into the ether. I was fucking devastated, absolutely devastated. We will do it again, though, I think. Yeah, it was just devastating that it was like lost. And I think what was the other? But like what I was saying is like I just like shining light on different people and different artists, and people, if they're already like someone like Merkage or where people will know, a lot of people, particularly like Cardiff and Newport, they definitely like will know him, but you know he's sort of had a couple of real bangers which have got millions of hits and that.
Yeah.
So like people might know him, but also they might like to see what he's about. And like a long form conversation, and it's the same for others then. And I enjoy that. I enjoy speaking to people and giving a different side to them, and they can kind of promote their stuff. And I have wondered though, what's the process like? So you know, like with like Larynx, or you see some other like YouTube channels maybe, right? And like so I don't know, whoever, like Merkage, anyone just does like they'll film a song, video, and then instead of putting it on their channel, it'll go on. You know, whoever's channel. What's the process with that? Like, I don't.
I think for the sort of, if you're looking at sort of Grime Daily or Link Up TV, like it's payment packages to feature videos on their channels because of the exposure that they'll potentially get. I think some of that, it's all right. I think some of it's dying a little bit.
Got to be the right place, I think, haven't it?
Yeah, and I think it benefits when you're at a certain stage, rather than I see a lot of people that are starting out. I've seen a lot of people that are sort of in their first year or two of artistry and do that, and I think in my opinion I think they should be growing their own YouTube channels. It's
just growing their own audience, even if it's like a Spotify thing or whatever.
And like I say, I get the sort of mass exposure sort of thing, but yeah, I think you should definitely look at doing it off your own thing, because that way you're not spending the money, you're gaining it. That'd be my sort of thing. And it's funny because it's something that we've talked about with a couple of people. Or should we have sort of a video submission? And like, I don't like taking money off people at all. So it'd be like I'd charge an admin fee, but like that sort of thing. But again, growing the YouTube channel is one of the things that I want to do over more of it over the next.
And the thing is, with YouTube, like the most important thing I think is like you've got to have regular content.
Yeah, there's got to be consistency there. That's one of the sort of areas over the past year or so that I've delved into, because I think
you must have so much content and clips and stuff that you could put on.
There's stuff there that I could use, but I think more original stuff is where I'm sort of leaning. It's like I was talking with Prendy from the Shutdown Show yesterday, and there's going to be something cool coming on there soon. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to doing that one. But yeah, I think media in general has moved away from sort of TV to YouTube.
When was the last time you watched TV?
Exactly.
I don't watch TV at all.
Yeah. It's
apart from the football, maybe a bit of cricket, and that's it.
I don't even watch football anymore. That's mad. And sort of the actors and stuff that you would have aspired to be on telly, or the presenters and stuff like that. So you're Anton Dex or someone off EastEnders or whatever. all those people are now your KSIs or your Logan Pauls or that sort of thing. And it's an area that I've got really interested in over the past sort of year or so. Just that form of content.
It's very, but at least in my experience, what I find is it's very like saturated. Like there's so many podcasts, there's so many YouTube channels. It's very difficult when you first start out, because if you say you do your first video and you got like the only subscribers you got your mates and your family and that, and then it's so difficult to like just get like a random video to bang. It's almost impossible. But shorts have made it a little bit more accessible, because you can put a short up, and if you kind of use the right tags and it's a bit interesting or funny, it can kind of go quite quickly.
Yeah.
But like a general video is just hard.
Yeah.
It's a grind, I would say.
It is a grind, and there's got to be some sort of like what is it they use, hook. There's got to be some sort of hook to get people into it. But I think, like I say, the right video with the right people in, and sort of just growing and grafting, that you can succeed on it. Saturated, there's a lot of people trying to do probably the same thing, but then
got to separate yourself.
And I think there was, what was it, on Sky, there was 999 channels.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm aware there's more than 999 channels on YouTube. But again, like, you know,
there's always going to be.
There's an audience. I think
content,
if you're good at something and you do it, and eventually people will sort of cotton on, and it can work. But that's where media is now, I think, and I've forgotten what the point was. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people that can capitalise on, and I think, like, going back to the video side of things with like music videos and putting them on different channels, people will capitalise on that sort of thing, because people can offer them a mass exposure or something like that. But yeah, I do think grafting on your own YouTube channel, if you've got a good, decent product, and like I remember Marino giving me a shout when I think he was putting out his first video, and he'd asked, and I'd said, like, do it on your own thing, and maybe when an artist gets to that tipping point, then maybe think about it. But I wouldn't do it.
I guess if you say you go on whatever channel and you're going to get that mass exposure, but if people like it and then they go to your channel, which you've been tagged in it or whatever, and there's nothing there, or there's like one or two songs and there's a big gap between them songs. Like, you're not following up on that initial engagement. Like, the whole point of going on something like that, like a bigger channel or like something that's going to get you that exposure, is that they will kind of follow you from that. So you've got to be in a position to capitalise on that. You can't capitalise on that if you haven't got your own thing, whether it's Spotify or YouTube or Facebook, wherever your kind of community or audience, or like wherever it is. Because I know some people have built up just their personal Facebook page, and then they just end up building that up and putting their stuff on that. It's fine, whatever it is, TikTok, whatever, but just have it so that when you get that exposure, people can go, oh, I'm going to this TikTok page, YouTube page, whatever, and they can see your stuff. As opposed to like an empty kind of. There's nothing to follow up on then, is there?
You've just got that one video on your social media, or I don't know, there's no email to find out more about you or whatever. But like, have a strategy with it. You know, make sure these things are thought out and planned. And don't just go, oh, I'm going to get my video on Link Up TV.
It's like I got a million views, but I didn't capitalise on it and follow up with it. So it's like, well, what did you really get from it? Because if you didn't capitalise on it, they took all the monetization from the video, which is not much anyway. But do you know what I mean? It's like they haven't capitalised on it. I do get the logic of doing it, but I think you're right. It's got to be the right time. I think with anything now, because social media and YouTube and Instagram and these things are so important, like reels and shorts and stuff. So important for promotion and getting people to look at your pages and stuff, because there's so much content out there. Like, I think you do need to have a strategy. Like, the mistake I made probably for the first 2 years of doing this was I didn't have a plan. I was just kind of throwing out shows whenever, wasn't really thinking about like what I was doing, and just kind of thinking, oh, the people will come because of this.
Yeah.
And it's only really in the last year or so, maybe 18 months, that like I've had more of a plan and a schedule, and like, this is out on this day, this is this, there's a live show there, Saturdays the show in the studios, and kind of done it that way. And I produce a show for someone else on a Sunday, so it's kind of slowly growing. And like, obviously having a media company like E.C.E Media filming the in-person stuff helps me, because it takes the pressure off me trying to find a place to do it and kind of all fit all that together. And they're top level. They do a lot of wicked stuff. They do stuff for the Welsh FA YouTube channel and that, and it's enjoyable, man. It's I like meeting new people as well, and you never know like what opportunities will arise from just meeting people.
That bloody hell, I wouldn't have got anywhere if I hadn't have been present. And this goes for musicians as well. This is one thing that I'm persistent with musicians. Being in the room, regardless of whether you're on a lineup or whatever, doesn't matter. Be in the room, because you never know who is in that room. You never know who's in the room. You never know who you're going to speak to, who knows who. I've been, like I say, been very fortunate to speak to people I never thought I'd speak to.
Yeah, same here.
Obviously with all stuff happening in Wrexham regarding the club, I've had the opportunity to speak with the people in charge, and that was through, speaking to someone else. That was someone else in the community that is, thought of in high regard. So, having connections and just being present. It's a massive key in getting favourite, in my opinion.
100%. Like that, like kind of networking, isn't it? Like, so on Saturday I got a show out with filmmaker and boxing commentator Kieran Gibbons. But like, speaking to him has kind of got me. I got an idea for like 2 documentaries which I want to make myself. And I kind of been putting it off for various reasons. And then speaking to him and listening to him, because he made a film about James Lilly called The Warrior Poet and stuff, and it was wicked. And I was like, what am I waiting for, sort of thing. And he's given me some tips, and I'm going to pick his brain, and kind of he's going to help me out a bit with getting some permissions to use certain footage and stuff. So like, if I hadn't invited him in for a chat and done the show, I might not have found out that stuff or been able to kind of pick his brains. It's interesting, man.
But like I say, I've learned everything from people in rooms, or like, fucking hell, Andy from Focus Wales, bloody Captain, Avant Cymru. Like, there's tons of people that I've learned so much stuff from, just from being, from sharing a room with them.
Do you know, in Wrexham, it does seem, or in North Wales at least, there does seem to be like a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like help, but like encouragement to link up like local businesses and local enterprises and help like almost grow businesses and stuff. Like, there seems to be like almost like an effort, if you like, to support that sort of thing. But like, I'm obviously saying it from the outside. I only see it when it works, I guess, or when it happens. You don't see the...
I wouldn't say anyone is unsupportive of anything. Whether people know about stuff happening, it is the other side of it that I think. Like, it's weird, because I think that we have a better rapport with South Wales than what we do with North Wales.
Interesting.
There's a lot of different moving parts with that as well. North Wales doesn't get the same amount of opportunities as South Wales does. The talent pool is significantly smaller in North Wales. Wrexham itself, I almost feel like there's a bit of a generational war happening at times. So a lot of people that have lived in Wrexham for a long time, it's their home, has been for a long time, they would like to see it as the market town that it once was. And then there's sort of the middle people that are sort of balancing it, and then there's like the new crop who want to see more arts and culture. And yeah, there's a bit of a button of heads, it seems sometimes, and I stay out of it as best as I can because I'm not interested in drama. But yeah, like for someone like us, like we see that there are youngsters or young people interested in the art form, interested in the genre of music we promote. So you hear it in, or you see it in how they dressed. They'll be walking down the road with like a loudspeaker and they'll be playing a certain song, and it's like, bloody hell, you should come to this gig. But getting them out of their houses into the gigs. But then, like, I think again, there's not a lot for young people either. So
everything's been taken away, isn't it? Like football pitches, basketball courts, they're just taking them away. Yeah, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of attention on Wrexham at the moment, and it's centred around one thing. Yeah, and I think it is trickling down slowly.
But do you think there's an opportunity for someone like maybe Larynx or other like content creators to almost, I don't want to say piggyback because it sounds cheap, but like off that exposure which is on Wrexham Football Club, there's got to be a way to get other things.
I think piggybacking it is probably the right term to use.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, no, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and like I say, we've had conversations where we have pitched ideas. Some of them haven't gotten off the ground. Some of them they're interested in working with. But yeah, I think there's an opportunity there to push Wrexham a bit more towards the modern day, because I don't think, like I feel like Wrexham is years behind like TikTok and stuff like that. Okay. I think down here, if I look at someone like Bablu from Radio Platform, was at an event with him last night. He is like, he's on it. He knows it, and he's on it. And I'm looking forward to seeing his journey because I think he'll go far. And then Wrexham, just I don't know. There's 73 Degree Films do a really good job of the sort of virality and sort of those sort of things. But yeah, I think we're missing a trick, and I think it needs to be capitalised on. Media's not necessarily, I don't know, well represented up there. I don't think. There's a lot of people trying to do different things, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you were to be filming something on a street in Cardiff, I feel like you wouldn't be bothered.
No.
I feel like if you were doing it there, you'd, what's this person doing here? Or
what are you doing?
Yeah. That's the difference. The difference. And hopefully it'll change with the sort of things going on up there at the moment.
There's going to be a lot of attention up there, isn't there? So
like everything is sort of football centric, and I get it absolutely. I want to see Wrexham progress as a football club, but I do feel from a community side of things, I think that can trickle down a little bit further.
It almost sounds like a little bit disjointed.
And they have done things to help the community, absolutely. But yeah, I think there's a little bit more ground to cover.
Okay, just to kind of finish off, mate, where would you, in the ideal world, like to take Larynx Entertainment over the next sort of 3 to 5 years? If you had the perfect scenario.
I don't know. I don't know. Carrying on what I'm doing and maybe getting paid for it. But look, it's never been about Larynx. I wouldn't have sod all to do if it wasn't for the artists, the organisations, the individuals that are just, helping spotlight an art form that I have loved for a long time. And these artists that are on my doorstep, that are, stone's throw away, that I now, they are my favourite artists now. I listen to nothing but. Just to continue helping, that's it for me. I just want to try and help in the best way I can, help other people, and that's it. I
love that, mate. I really do. I like that. It's not like, I want to do this.
It's not, and I think the same for the organisations as well. It's not about the organisation. It's not about whatever banner you're under. It's not about that. It's about the artists. If I can find a way to put money in people's pockets for a performance, or signpost them to the person that's going to tell them the best way to do something or whatever, I'm alright. I'll go to bed happy at night. If I can help an artist gain one more follower on their Instagram, I'm alright with that. It's not about Larynx. It's not about me. It's all about the artists. And I'll continue to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And Larynx, I'm extremely appreciative, because I come down here and I get a good reception, and I'm so grateful that people talk about us in the regard that they do. Same up there as well. I'm glad that there are people that appreciate what we do. We're just trying. Like I say, I'm not an expert in anything. We're just fucking winging it. But I'm so appreciative, and there's plenty of other way a small cog on the wheel making things turn around. There's organisations and individuals that are doing bits like this year. With the 50 years of hip hop, there's tons of people trying to tell that story and tell the story about Wales. There's artists from generations, like Jaffa. I only met Jaffa for the first time last year, and it was like, you're like a god to me. You're like a god. And then the artists that up north that we work a bit more closely with, because we're there. Like the likes of Lizzie Squad and Benzie and people like that. And then the organisations themselves, like the Shutdown Show, Ladies of Rage, Avant, New Era, Studio 45, Silk Crit, all of them. I just want to help. Just want to help. Don't give a shit about anything else. Don't care about no drama. Don't care about no politics. I just want to help.
Can't afford you, mate. Yeah. Listen, I'll put all the descriptions for Larynx and everything down below. So make sure you give them a follow. Check out their stuff. Check out their Instagram page, etc. Check out the shows if you're in North Wales as well. There's plenty of top artists out there in North Wales, South Wales. Wales as a whole is overflowing with talent. So make sure you check them out, give them a chance, and also shout out to Runnick, who's just past North Wales, I think. But I like him, and he's coming down soon, so I give him a shout out.
Oh, yeah.
But also check out, subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. Check out patreon.com/AcePodcastNation if you want to support the channel and keep the lights on, as it was. But we'll be back next week. Of course, we've got many a live show throughout the week as well, so check them out. Big shout out to Violent Money, as always, for supporting the channel. Use the code ACENation. Get yourself 20% off their fight equipment, boxes, clothes. They've done a collaboration with Weekend Defender as well. All sorts of good stuff. Use the discount code below. get yourself some nice stuff. Nice
They
one.
see the vibe and I came up quick. See around the city on the same old shit. I've been really working and it's steady, got me buzzing. I've been getting money, now I'm everybody cousin. Waffle House run and it's back to the bed. Hit it from the back, pulling tracks from your head. Only thing showing this late be the freak show. Call for your come, I be checking through the peephole. Everything closed this late, but your contacts. Here to catch a vibe, you might catch a little contact. Only thing showing this late be the freak show. Call for your come, I be checking through the peephole. Everything closed this late, but your contact. Here to catch a vibe, you might catch a little contact.